Hello, Q Services, Qwashers, eBay and YouTube. What we're talking about here is jets, nozzles for pressure washers in the marketplace. The girls in the office get so frustrated at times, and so do myself, when customers land in or we're sending messages out to customers saying what jet size. What customers do not understand is that every pressure washer has a different pump. That pump produces a different literage, which is volume, and also a different pressure, which is bar. To be able to get the correct size jet, you need to match them two together by looking at a chart very similar to this. And you will see across the top you've got the bar. You've then down here got all the numbers which are the litres for your pressure washer. Down this side it then tells you what jet size goes with it. So as we look at this chart here, if you've got a machine that's doing 100 bar and your machine, for instance, is doing 10 litres, that's 10.2. If you go across, you'll come to the jet size. Now always remember, if yours is ever so slightly higher, so like that one we've picked up there straight away, 10.2 litres, but yours is a 10 litre machine, that is an 045. Always make sure you go up to the top size of it, don't go below. What happens is, if you've got a pressure washer and your pressure washer itself is, say for instance, doing 200 bar and the machine itself is 21 litres, you need to make sure you get the correct size jet. If you don't, and you've got a flow sensitive unloader, what will simply happen is that machine will surge. It will build up pressure, knock off, build up pressure, knock off. Now if you've got a trap pressure unloader, automatically you're going to put strain on the whole system, whether it's an engine driven machine or a motor driven machine, it will put load on. That unloader will then start to bypass. You can then cause damage to the machine itself, same as you can do running an engine the same way. You don't want that happening. Also, what is the point in having a pressure washer, for instance, say 13 horsepower, 21 litres at 200 bar, and you go and shove the wrong size jet in that's too small? That machine at that stage will not be working at its litrage it's meant to be working at, and also the machine will not work correctly. But if you was running it with an unloader that is a trap pressure unloader, that machine will try and work, and at that stage, if you've got an 04 in, you might as well look at that chart there. So you've got a machine that's doing 200 bar, and you're running it, for instance, with a 455 nozzle. At that stage, 200 bar, you go across till you come to it, and you'll see what that litrage is down to. You're wasting your time and energy, and also causing damage to your pressure washer. You cannot afford for this to happen. Now when you look at a jet and everything else, people come in. I had one customer in the other day, and this is a guy that's got lads out there and everything else working all the time, and what he said to me was, I use them different colour jets. Well, that's okay using them different colour jets, but these can be an 03, 035, 04, or 45 right the way up. So he said, I use the white one, I use the so. That's no good, because reason being, like I say, yes, all you're simply having is the white one is a different spray pattern, which is a 40 degree. Now as you look at these here, you'll see all these jets here. So as you look at this one here, you've got a 15. That first two digits, them numbers there, 15, is the angle. So if you move to a 25, first two numbers, that angle becomes even wider. 40, the first two numbers, that also becomes even wider still, right up to the 6.5s. And all you're doing is opening the spray pattern up. If you're doing a job and you want as much pressure as possible, then you could go down the route of a turbo nozzle. That is a 0 degree nozzle inside there, zero angle, but rotates at a 20 or a 40 degree spray pattern, depending on the turbo nozzle you're running on. So even though it's got a 0 degree, what would happen is you'd hit an intensity of a circle like that, but then circulate around that large circle. But you've still got that intensity, so your machine is working as long as you've got the right jet size. No point buying just a turbo nozzle and thinking that that's one. We need to know the litres and the pressure. So the pressure is the bar, and the litres is the volume of what that pump is doing. We can then match it together, or if you know, then even easier. Same again on a VARIO nozzle. So this VARIO nozzle can be turned and set off with a 0 degree angle. You can then open it. As these fins close up, get closer together, as you turn it, at that stage what's simply happening is you're then opening the spray pattern up. What you're either losing then is the intensity of the pressure. But sometimes when you're doing a job, say something like decking, you want to lose that intensity so you don't damage and start damaging the pit of the wood, the pitch of it all. You don't want to start pulling it all out. Same again, so what we simply have here is different jets that go into this VARIO nozzle, or 3, or 3.5, or 4, right the way up again. But like I say, the most worrying thing to myself is running with the wrong size jet for your pressure washer. You've got to know. Like I say, some of these lads that come in, that sometimes turn up, and what's simply happening is they just think that any old jet will do. So the customer the other day said, I have all sorts of problems with pressure washers. Now, he's never bought a machine off ourselves, but until he were explaining, he said, nobody's explained this to me before. How can he go out and give the lads knowledge when he hasn't got the knowledge in the first place and he hasn't been told this? Just talk to your customers. Explain to them exactly what's going on when you're on the phone to the customer. Yeah. So when it comes to patio cleaners and stuff like that, what you can find is sometimes the patio cleaners have got 2 jets inside there. So if you've got a pressure washer that's, say for instance, 200 bar again, 21 litres, you'll be running with 2 or 3 5 jets, because that makes up a 7. Now you'll drop down slightly on the barrage, but you're maintaining 10.5 litres at one jet, 10.5 litres at the other. If you times 10.5 by 10.5, that comes to 21 litres. But same old thing again, is when you're setting that up is the unloader side. Everything has to match, but like I say, one of the most critical parts is the jet. Same when you're setting an unloader up, buy a new jet and put a new jet in when you're setting the unloader, so you know everything is working correctly. Now jets can get worn, so if you buy a pressure washer and all of a sudden it comes with a lance, the first thing you should be doing is making sure you've got the correct size jet in, making sure it's a new jet really on that side, a bit like buying a car, and making sure that everything's okay, and them things that are most important that you don't want the engine to blow up, you change them. Same on a pressure washer, get that jet changed straight away and get the correct size jet. Make sure the unloader's correctly set up, because like I say, I see all sorts in the marketplace and it's so frustrating. And it's always the supplier's fault why machines fail. Not always supplier's fault, I can tell you that much. Like I say, the other day when the customer turned up, how can he educate his employees when he doesn't understand it himself? So like I say, these are all the different jets, all different. There's many different types and sizes and everything else. Like I say, the white ones there, or 3, or 3.5, or 4, or 4.5, and they're just in the white. So it doesn't mean that white one is a certain colour. You then come across pressure washers in the marketplace and they've got all the jets across the top. Mostly these are Chinese import machines that you can wreck the pump very easy. But like I say, they run with the smallest jet to do the maximum pressure they can do. But like I say, this is what we're up against all day, every day. The girls send messages out, please can you tell us what the litres. Now the next thing what you're not looking at is a trigger. So what I mean by that is we also have customers come on, and what they'll simply do is they'll give us information, but the information they're giving us can be off. I'll show you now. They'll go and they'll give us the information off the trigger. They then tell us that they've got a machine that's doing 210 bar at 45 litres. Or they might look at the turbo nozzle, which they can't understand as well. So if you see in the end of there, that is a yellow one. That means that's an 03 because it's got a yellow cone inside. But what they'll tell us is their machine is 250 bar, because what they're doing is reading, or they'll tell us that the nozzle size is what they're working on. But it's not. Please watch the video. I spend a lot of time and put a lot of energy into these sort of videos to help the customers, to make sure that the customer himself looks after his machine. It then don't come back onto us saying, you've sold me something, I don't want to do that. We don't do that. We want the machine right for yourself in the first place, and we want the right size jets, and you need to understand it. Now what you can do if you've got multiple machines is you can buy a little tag. So like these jets here, so that's an 03, we can buy yellow tags, all the different colours that are in here now. And what's simply happening is, instead of using it as angle size, use it as the jet size, so you know that blue one goes with that machine that's doing that, that yellow one goes with that, and you can put them on your lances or your jets, wherever you want to put them. So the little tags that can be put on the machine, then put onto the actual guns, lances and everything else, so that you know that when you've got different multiple different types of machines that are doing different pressures, different litres, you're matching everything up correctly. Thank you very much. That's me moaning and groaning for tonight. I hope this is helpful and clear with everybody how things work. And like I say, always remember them first two numbers are the degree spray pattern. The lower the degree, 15, the more intense the jet has. It's not spreading over a wider distance to something like that that's opening up even further. But if you've got a pressure washer that's really, really intense anyway and high pressure, sometimes you can get more work done by opening the jet up. Thank you very much. Q Services, Qwashers, eBay and YouTube.